Imagine a creature so mesmerizing she could stop time itself. Her face glows with ethereal beauty, delicate yet powerful, framed by hair that flows like liquid silk across the waves. Her eyes shimmer with the secrets of the deep, sometimes inviting, sometimes warning, holding both longing and wisdom. Her body, half human, half fish, moves with effortless grace through the ocean, a perfect harmony of strength and elegance. Her voice, oh her voice, soft as the lull of the tide, yet capable of stirring hearts and haunting sailors, carrying both temptation and sorrow. This is the mermaid, a being born from water, myth, and humanity's imagination. Today, we dive into the timeless story of these enigmatic daughters of the sea. From ancient goddesses and river spirits to seductive European sirens, tragic lovers, and modern guardians of the ocean, we explore their myths, their mysteries, and the messages they carry across cultures and centuries. Join us as we travel across the coasts of Europe, the rivers of South Asia, the shores of Africa, and the hidden depths of the oceans to uncover the truth, tragedy, and power of mermaids. Make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications to journey with us through every tale. And before we dive deeper, let us know in the comments, where are you watching from? Let the oceans connect us all. Chapter 1. Born from the sea before language learned to name the world, the sea already possessed a voice. It spoke not in words, but in tides, storms, and the endless swallowing of light beneath its surface. To early humanity, the ocean was not a landscape. It was an abyss, an ancient intelligence breathing beyond control. Standing at the shore, humans did not merely look outward, they looked inward, projecting their fears, hopes, and unanswered questions into the dark water. From this confrontation between fragile land dwellers and an immeasurable sea emerged one of the oldest figures in mythic memory, the mermaid. The mermaid is not a creature of fantasy alone, but of liminality, a being that exists between worlds. Half human, half fish, she embodies a paradox that early civilizations instinctively understood. The human form made her familiar, recognizable, almost approachable. The fishtail denied full kinship, binding her forever to the depths. This duality reflects humanity's earliest psychological struggle, the desire to master nature while fearing its overwhelming power. The mermaid did not rise from imagination by accident. She rose because the sea demanded a face. The earliest recorded mermaid figure appears not in fairy tales, but in ancient religion. In Mesopotamia, around 1000 BC, and possibly much earlier, the goddess Atargatis was worshipped as a deity of fertility, water, and life. According to surviving texts and reliefs, Atargatis transformed herself into a fish-bodied being after a tragic love affair, plunging into a lake in shame and grief. Her temple stood near rivers, and fish were considered sacred in her honor. This is not folklore whispered by sailors. It is documented belief, carved into stone and preserved in ritual practice. The mermaid, at her origin, was divine. This sacred association between water and life was not unique to Mesopotamia. Across early civilizations, water represented both creation and annihilation. Rivers fed crops, seas enabled trade, yet floods and storms destroyed entire communities without warning. In such an unstable relationship, myth became a method of understanding. The mermaid functioned as an intermediary, neither storm nor human, neither god nor animal, capable of explaining why the sea could nurture one moment and kill the next. As maritime travel expanded, so too did the mermaid's reach. Phoenician sailors carried myths across the Mediterranean, while Greek culture absorbed and transformed aquatic figures into complex cosmological beings. The Nereids, sea nymphs associated with Poseidon, shared many traits later attributed to mermaids: beauty, danger, and emotional volatility. Though early Greek sirens were depicted as bird women rather than fish-tailed beings, their essential function was the same: to lure, to test, to destroy those who underestimated the sea. Over time, artistic and narrative traditions merged these figures, reshaping the siren into the mermaid form familiar today. This evolution was not random. As sailing technology improved, humans ventured farther into open waters, encountering isolation, hallucination, and terror. Long voyages produced dehydration, exhaustion, and distorted perception. Under such conditions, the sea itself became theatrical. Waves resembled bodies, shadows suggested movement, and unfamiliar marine animals appeared almost supernatural. In this environment, belief did not require proof, it required survival. Historical records confirm that even educated observers reported mermaid sightings. In 1493, Christopher Columbus documented seeing 3 mermaid-like figures off the coast of the Caribbean, noting they were not as beautiful as they are painted. Modern science suggests these were likely manatees or dugongs, marine mammals capable of lifting their heads and holding their young in ways that resemble human posture. Yet this explanation does not diminish the myth, it strengthens it. The mermaid persisted not because humans were ignorant, but because the sea repeatedly offered shapes that blurred certainty. Beyond misidentification lies a deeper truth. The mermaid was necessary. Psychologically, she represented the human fear of the unknown coupled with irresistible curiosity. She was the sea made personal. By giving the ocean a face, humanity could negotiate with it, fear it, desire it, blame it. The mermaid sang because the sea was calling. She drowned sailors because the ocean demanded respect. Archaeological evidence reveals mermaid imagery appearing in Roman mosaics, medieval manuscripts, and church carvings throughout Europe. These depictions were not uniform. Sometimes she held a mirror, symbolizing vanity and illusion. Sometimes a comb, representing temptation. Often, she was placed at the margins of sacred spaces, warning worshippers of moral and spiritual danger. By the Middle Ages, the mermaid had been stripped of divinity and recast as a cautionary figure, a reflection of shifting attitudes toward the feminine, the body, and desire. Yet even as theology attempted to demonize her, the mermaid refused to disappear. She survived because she was adaptable. Where religion condemned her, folklore preserved her. Where reason dismissed her, art resurrected her. She moved from temple to tale, from goddess to ghost, without losing her essential power. What unites all early mermaid traditions is their connection to thresholds. Shores, riverbanks, ports, these were places of transition, where safety ended and risk began. The mermaid belongs to such spaces. She does not chase humans inland, nor does she fully emerge into daylight. She waits at the edge, watching. In this sense, she mirrors humanity's own hesitation before the unknown future. By the time history began recording itself in detail, the mermaid was already ancient. She had witnessed the rise of civilizations and their collapse beneath waves. She had been worshipped, feared, desired, and denied. Yet her essence remained unchanged, a reminder that some forces cannot be conquered, only respected. Chapter 1, therefore, does not introduce a monster or a fantasy. It introduces a memory older than writing, a myth born from survival, shaped by belief, and sustained by the sea's eternal refusal to be understood. The mermaid was never meant to be proven. She was meant to be remembered. And as humanity continues to stand at the water's edge, building ships, drilling depths, and poisoning tides, the question she embodies still lingers beneath the surface. Do we rule the sea, or does it merely allow us to exist? Chapter 2. The sea began to change its language. What was once sacred became hostile. What was once revered became feared. The open ocean offered no landmarks, no mercy, and no forgiveness. It was here, between horizon and oblivion, that the mermaid transformed. No longer a goddess of life-giving waters, she became a warning. In European imagination, she sang not to bless, but to doom. The earliest European ancestors of the mermaid appear in ancient Greek mythology, where the sea was ruled by volatile gods and inhabited by beings that tested human arrogance. Among these were the sirens, creatures whose voices alone were lethal. In Homer's Odyssey 8th century on, the sirens are described as irresistible singers who lured sailors toward rocky shores, where ships shattered and men drowned. At this stage, sirens were not fish-tailed. They were depicted as bird women, hybrids of air and flesh. Yet their function was unmistakable. They punished curiosity and hubris. As centuries passed, myths adapted to human experience. Greek sailors ventured deeper into the Mediterranean, facing storms, shipwrecks, and long stretches of isolation. The danger was no longer above the water, it was beneath it. Artistic depictions gradually shifted. Wings were replaced by tails. The siren descended from the sky into the sea, merging with older aquatic myths. Thus, the mermaid as seductress was born, not from invention, but from environmental necessity. By the Roman era, mermaid-like figures appeared frequently in mosaics and coastal art. These beings were often shown reclining in waves, holding instruments or mirrors, half inviting and half warning. Roman writers recorded sea spirits capable of guiding or destroying ships, reflecting a culture deeply dependent on maritime trade. To offend the sea was to invite death. To listen too closely to its beauty was to forget one's place. As Europe entered the medieval period, the mermaid's image darkened further. Christianity reframed ancient myths through moral judgment. The sea, once divine, became chaotic and sinful. The mermaid was recast as a symbol of temptation, embodying the dangers of desire, especially feminine desire. Medieval bestiaries described her as a creature who sang sweetly to lure men into drowning. Church carvings across England, France, and Germany depict mermaids holding combs and mirrors, icons of vanity and lust, placed deliberately on cathedral walls as silent sermons in stone. These images were not meant to entertain. They were warnings. In a world where most people never saw the ocean, the mermaid represented all forbidden pleasures, beauty without virtue, desire without salvation. She became a theological tool, teaching that what appears beautiful may conceal destruction. Yet this demonization reveals more about medieval fear than about the sea itself. The mermaid was punished for her power to attract, to command attention without permission. Along the rugged coasts of Ireland and Scotland, the legend evolved differently. Here emerged the Merrows and Selkies, beings who could move between sea and land. Merrows were said to wear enchanted caps that allowed them to live underwater. If a human stole this cap, the Merrow could be forced into marriage. These stories often ended in sorrow. The mermaid wife eventually reclaimed her cap and returned to the sea, abandoning her human family. Such tales reveal a profound truth. Union between human and ocean was always temporary. The sea does not share, it reclaims. Historical sailor accounts reinforced belief. Medieval and early modern ship logs include descriptions of mermaids seen during long voyages, often preceding storms or shipwrecks. Whether hallucination, folklore, or misidentified marine animals, these sightings gained authority through repetition. Sailors believed mermaids were omens, harbingers of death. To see one was to know that the sea had already decided your fate. By the age of exploration, the mermaid had become a fixed presence in European consciousness. Maps from the 15th and 16th centuries are filled with sea monsters and mermaids occupying uncharted waters. These illustrations were not decorative, they were warnings. Beyond the known world lay danger, mystery, and punishment. The mermaid sat at the edge of the map, guarding the unknown. Yet beneath fear lay fascination. European literature could not release her grip. Ballads, poems, and coastal legends portrayed mermaids as tragic figures, cursed to sing, doomed to solitude. They were dangerous not because they hated humans, but because they belonged to a realm humans could not survive. Their beauty was real, their love was lethal. Psychologically, the European mermaid reflects male anxiety toward the sea and toward desire. Sailors left families behind, confronting loneliness, temptation, and death. The mermaid embodied all three. She was longing given shape. Her song echoed the sea itself, beautiful, endless, and fatal if trusted. Importantly, European mermaids rarely had voices of their own beyond song. They did not speak, they lured. This silence transformed them into objects of fear rather than subjects of thought. Unlike earlier goddesses, they held no authority, only influence. Their punishment was eternal repetition. Sing, lure, drown, disappear. By the late medieval period, the mermaid was fully severed from her divine roots. She had become a creature of warning rather than worship, stripped of agency and reduced to symbol. Yet even in this diminished form, she retained immense power. She survived sermons, scripture, and skepticism alike. What Europe created was not merely a monster, but a reflection of its relationship with the sea. A relationship built on conquest, fear, and denial. The mermaid sang because sailors refused to listen to the sea itself. She drowned men because men believed they could command waters older than memory. Thus, Chapter 2 reveals the mermaid not as a villain, but as a mirror. In her song echoes Europe's struggle with temptation, faith, and the uncontrollable forces beyond human order. She did not invent destruction, she foretold it. And as ships continued to vanish beneath waves, the warning remained unchanged. The sea does not kill without reason. Humans simply forget to listen. Chapter 3. Water spirits of the East Middle East, South Asia, and Africa, Gothic, mystical narrative with cultural logic and facts. While Europe clothed the mermaid in fear and moral warning, the East remembered her differently. Here, she was not merely a seductress or an omen of death, but a custodian of water, a spiritual force bound to fertility, balance, and survival. Rivers, seas, and rain were not enemies to be conquered, but living systems to be respected. In these landscapes, the mermaid did not sing of doom. She watched, guarded, and judged. In the Middle Eastern imagination, water was sacred long before it was feared. Ancient civilizations rose and fell along rivers whose rhythms governed life itself. In Islamic cosmology, the sea is repeatedly described as a sign of divine power, vast, ordered, and obedient to laws beyond human reach. Within this worldview emerged the concept of sea jinn, intelligent beings created from smokeless fire who could inhabit land, air, and water. Medieval Islamic scholars such as Al-Qazwini recorded accounts of marine jinn and half-human sea creatures, not as monsters but as part of a broader, unseen ecology. These beings were not evil by nature, they reflected moral balance. Those who respected the sea were protected. Those who violated it faced consequences. Unlike European mermaids, these aquatic beings were not eroticized. Their danger lay not in beauty, but in transgression. To disturb sacred waters, to fish without restraint, or to mock the unknown was to invite retribution. The water spirit functioned as a moral guardian, enforcing limits in a world where survival depended on restraint. In this tradition, The mermaid-like figure did not lure, she warned. Moving eastward into South Asia, the relationship between water and myth deepens further. Here, rivers are not symbols. They are living deities. Ancient Indian architecture is carved with figures known as jal-kanyas, or water maidens, often depicted as half woman, half fish, or bird. These figures appear on temple walls, not hidden in shadows but placed openly, celebrating water as a source of fertility, abundance, and continuity. Jal-kanyas were not isolated myths. They were visual theology, reminders that life flows from water and returns to it. In Hindu cosmology, oceans are churning forces of creation. The famous myth of Samudra Manthan, the churning of the cosmic ocean, describes gods and demons working together to extract immortality from the sea. Though not mermaids themselves, water maidens appear as attendants and manifestations of the ocean's generative power. In this context, aquatic feminine figures are not passive. They are essential. They represent the productive chaos from which existence emerges. In the riverine cultures of Bengal, aquatic spirits take on darker shades. Folklore tells of beings who inhabit deep waters, appearing to fishermen and travelers. These spirits are neither entirely benevolent nor malicious. They protect their territory. Men who disrespect rivers by overfishing, polluting, or mocking sacred spaces are said to vanish. Here, the mermaid-like figure functions as an enforcer of ecological ethics long before the term existed. Water remembers harm, and water responds. Further south, in Sri Lanka and the Maldives, oral traditions speak of sea women who guide fishermen, warn of storms, and sometimes claim lives as payment for imbalance. These stories arise from communities that lived entirely at the mercy of the ocean. The mermaid was not fantasy. She was survival logic expressed through story. To respect the sea was to live. To defy it was to die. Across the Indian Ocean, in Africa, the water spirit achieves her most powerful form. Known as Mami Wata, she is worshipped across West and Central Africa and throughout the African diaspora in the Caribbean and the Americas. Mami Wata is often depicted as a beautiful woman with a fishtail or entwined serpent, symbolizing wealth, healing, sexuality, and danger. She is not a myth to be told. She is a spirit to be negotiated with. Devotees believe Mami Wata grants prosperity, fertility, and protection, but only in exchange for discipline and devotion. Those who break promises suffer illness, loss, or madness. This relationship is contractual, not moralistic. Mami Wata is neither good nor evil, she is powerful. She reflects the ocean itself, generous, yet unforgiving. What unites these Eastern and African traditions is their refusal to reduce aquatic feminine beings to temptation alone. Unlike Europe's mermaid, these spirits possess agency. They choose, judge, and remember. They are not silent singers, they are decision makers. Their beauty is not a trap, it is a manifestation of power. Anthropologically, these myths arise from societies that lived in close harmony with water systems. Where Europe sought dominance over nature, these cultures sought balance. The mermaid, in this context, is an ecological figure, an embodiment of environmental law. She enforces boundaries humanity cannot afford to cross. This distinction is crucial. In the East, water spirits often punish greed rather than desire. They respond to excess, not curiosity. Their stories encode sustainable living into cultural memory. Long before climate science, these myths warned that water cannot be exploited endlessly without consequence. Yet even here, the mermaid remains liminal. She is never fully accessible. She appears briefly, intervenes decisively, and retreats into depth. Her mystery is preserved because mystery itself is sacred. To fully know her would be to dominate her, and domination is precisely what these traditions reject. Chapter 3, therefore, reveals a forgotten truth. The mermaid was once a guardian, not a curse. She stood between humanity and ecological collapse, her stories carrying laws older than civilization. Where Europe feared her song, the East feared her judgment. And as rivers dry, seas rise, and balance collapses, these ancient water spirits seem less like myth and more like prophecy. Chapter 4. Curse, Sacrifice, Silence. The mermaid's song had long haunted humanity, not as a warning, but as a lament. She was no longer only a figure of danger or a guardian of waters. She had become a symbol of sacrifice, longing, and the unbearable weight of being caught between worlds. To be a mermaid was to possess beauty and power, yet to live forever in exile, bound to depths no human could follow, condemned to silence, or doomed to pay a price for desire. In European lore, this tragic dimension first emerges vividly in tales of love and longing. The Merrow of Ireland and Scotland, or the Selkie of northern coasts, were creatures capable of crossing the border between water and land. They could take human lovers, form families, and experience the fleeting warmth of human connection, but always at a cost. The moment they reclaimed their enchanted cap or returned to the sea, they abandoned the lives they had touched. Their love was impermanent, their presence fleeting. The human world, with all its comforts and bonds, could never fully contain them. Here, the mermaid is not an object of temptation. She is an exile, a mirror of humanity's own desire to belong, to love, and yet remain untouchable. The most haunting iteration of this theme emerges in Hans Christian Andersen's The Little Mermaid, 1837. Andersen strips the mermaid of divine power and autonomy, emphasizing her suffering and sacrifice. To become human and attain the love she craves, she must surrender her voice, her primary means of expression, and accept inevitable suffering. Every step on human feet brings pain. Every day spent among humans is an agonizing reminder of what she has lost. Her story is not one of triumph, but of silent endurance and unspoken longing. Even after she forfeits her life and transforms into sea foam, her suffering echoes across centuries, a testament to love's cost and the cruelty of impossible desire. This theme of silence and sacrifice is not confined to literature. Across folklore worldwide, mermaids and mermaid-like figures embody the price of crossing worlds. In South Asian myths, the jal-kanyas occasionally grant humans boons, yet they often demand renunciation, respect, or abstention in return. A fisherman who harms sacred waters or attempts to claim a water maiden's companionship can bring disaster upon himself. The mermaid does not punish whimsically. She enforces boundaries that humans cannot fully comprehend. In African and Afro-Caribbean traditions, Mami Wata demonstrates a similar principle. She can bestow wealth, healing, and fertility, but each gift carries a responsibility. Those who take without honoring her laws fall into illness, misfortune, or madness. Here, the mermaid's tragedy is conditional power. To live with her blessings requires discipline and understanding, yet humans are inherently fragile and prone to excess. Her beauty and charm, though undeniable, are inseparable from consequence. To love or desire a mermaid is to accept loss and limitation, to acknowledge one can never fully possess the depths she represents. Psychologically, the mermaid's tragedy is a reflection of humanity's own inner exile. She is the part of the self that yearns for freedom, voice, and union, but is constrained by circumstance. The human who seeks her love is drawn to the impossible. The mermaid who sacrifices her voice embodies the silent endurance of the misunderstood, the unseen, the eternally longing. Her song, once capable of drowning men or warning them, now becomes a lament for what cannot be reconciled: desire and reality, flesh and spirit, earth and sea. In Gothic narrative terms, this chapter is the most intimate and sorrowful. It emphasizes isolation, vulnerability, and the cruel beauty of unfulfilled longing. Imagine a moonlit ocean where the mermaid watches distant lights on human shores, her voice silenced, her heart full of unspoken stories. Waves rise like sighs, reflecting her grief. She touches the surface, yearning to belong, yet retreats into shadow and depth. Her tragedy is eternal, never-ending, never fully visible, yet profoundly human. Even modern retellings preserve this pathos. Contemporary fiction and cinema often portray mermaids as figures caught between nature and humanity, embodying environmental loss, feminism, or existential exile. The silent sacrifice of the mermaid resonates because it mirrors modern struggles, the suppression of voice, the impossibility of reconciling two worlds, the heartbreak of devotion without return. In this way, tragedy becomes timeless, and her silent suffering continues to speak to every generation. The mermaid's sacrifice is also symbolically ecological. By giving up her voice or life for human desire, she represents nature's repeated concessions to human greed. Every forest cleared, every reef destroyed, echoes her story. The world is asked to surrender for the sake of human convenience, yet remains unacknowledged, unheard, and betrayed. The Gothic tone of her suffering mirrors the weight of these losses, casting a shadow over the human narrative of dominance and control. Chapter 4, therefore, positions the mermaid not as a villain, not as a temptress, but as a tragic intermediary. She exists in a liminal state, embodying all that humans cannot have, all that they long for but cannot achieve without loss. Her silence is profound, her sacrifice immense, and her beauty eternal. In the dark waters where she dwells, she becomes both mirror and memory, a warning of desire's cost, a testament to endurance, and a monument to love that cannot be possessed. As the story drifts forward, the mermaid's lament leaves an echo on every shore, a whisper carried on every wave. To touch the impossible is to pay a price, and the sea will always remember. Chapter 5. Guardians of the abyss. Even after centuries of myth, fear, and sacrifice, the mermaid has not vanished. She has endured, not merely as a story, but as a guardian of the waters, a reflection of humanity's enduring dependence on the ocean and the fragile balance between life and destruction. No longer confined to warning sailors or lamenting lost love, she is transformed into a symbol of resilience, agency, and ecological consciousness, while retaining her haunting, Gothic presence. In the modern imagination, mermaids are increasingly portrayed as protectors of the sea. Environmental movements invoke her image as a reminder of what is at stake: the reefs bleached, the oceans warming, the waves rising with human indifference. She embodies the voice of nature itself, whispering through tides and currents, urging caution, respect, and renewal. In this role, her Gothic roots remain: the darkness of the deep, the mystery of her presence, the danger in disregard, but now paired with the possibility of redemption. Across cultures, this figure continues to resonate. In African and Caribbean traditions, Mami Wata persists as both a deity and a cultural icon. She is invoked in rituals to heal, to bless, and to balance material desires with spiritual and environmental responsibility. Her duality, beauty and power, allure and danger, remains intact, but her focus shifts from punishment to stewardship. Likewise, in South Asia, the jal-kanyas and river spirits continue to appear in stories as protectors of sacred waters, reminding communities of the delicate balance between human activity and natural cycles. European mermaids, too, have evolved in collective imagination. Once feared, now they inspire art, literature, and cinema as symbols of feminine agency, resilience, and unspoken power. No longer silent victims or destructive seductresses, they represent voices long suppressed, the right to autonomy, to exist on one's own terms, and to claim space even in the most hostile environments. Their gothic mystery, moonlit waves, dark depths, sorrowful eyes, remains. But it now carries hope that humanity can recognize and respect what cannot be controlled. Psychologically, the mermaid embodies the human confrontation with limits, mortality, and responsibility. She reminds us that we are not masters of the sea, nor fully of ourselves. Her presence in myths across continents encodes centuries of observation, respect boundaries, honor life, and acknowledge the consequences of desire and greed. In a world where climate change and environmental collapse are immediate threats, her role as guardian has never been more relevant. The ocean is the ultimate Gothic landscape, dark, unknowable, beautiful, and terrifying. And the mermaid, lurking within, is its conscience. Visually, the modern mermaid in Gothic tone retains the mystery and drama of centuries-old tales. Moonlight glints on her scales, deep waters swirl around her, and shadows stretch like ancient warnings. She watches the human world from below, her gaze both haunting and instructive. Yet, unlike her tragic predecessors, there is now a glimmer of hope in her presence, a chance for humans to listen, to learn, and to act before the abyss responds with vengeance. In literature and cinema, contemporary depictions often merge ecology with Gothic aesthetic. Films show mermaids confronting pollution, climate disaster, or human intrusion, emphasizing both danger and potential for restoration. The mermaid becomes a mirror of human responsibility. Our actions have consequences, yet there is still time to change. Gothic does not always mean despair. It can mean vigilance, reflection, and reverence for forces larger than ourselves. At the close of the story, the mermaids of every tradition, the European seductress, the South Asian guardian, the African healer, are united. They are daughters of the abyss, eternal witnesses to human folly and perseverance alike. Their song, once a lament or a warning, is now a call to awareness. The waves carry it to every shore. Respect the waters, honor life, and tread carefully, for these depths remember. And in this final chapter, hope emerges from darkness. The Gothic mystery remains. The ocean is still deep, shadowed, and unknowable. But humanity has the chance to engage consciously. Mermaids, once figures of tragedy or doom, now stand as guardians, guides, and symbols of possibility. They remind us that even in the abyss, there is beauty, wisdom, and the potential for redemption. The story ends not with silence or destruction, but with listening. Humanity, finally aware, pauses at the edge of the water. The mermaids linger beneath the waves, their eyes reflecting centuries of memory, their song a gentle but insistent plea. In their presence, the sea is no longer just a threat or a mystery. It is a teacher, a guardian, and a home to forces we must respect. The daughters of the deep watch still, and the ocean whispers, "Those who listen may yet endure."